Hello, I'm Dave Abrams. Happy Veterans Day.
And I'm Kristin. Welcome to Arundel County Week in Review. In this episode, we'll find out what local seniors are doing to help Ellicott City rebuild, and we look at a partnership with the University of Maryland. But first, making headlines this week. The election is finally over.
I think.
Finally.
My gosh.
And
how long did we sleep?
We have not slept at all. Forever and forever. And we have a new president-elect, Donald J. Trump. There were lots of local results as well. Our 4 sitting circuit court judges were retained, as well as 5 members of the Board of Education. Chris Van Hollen won easily to replace Barbara Mikulski after 30 years in that seat. Congressman John Sarbanes, Dutch Ruppersberger, Steny Hoyer, and Andy Harris will return to Washington, along with new Congressman Anthony Brown, who replaces Donna Edwards. Voters also weighed in on 6 proposed amendments to the county charter. All but one of those were approved, and they do the following. Removing a requirement to recodify the code every 10 years, making budget transfers and similar measures effective immediately when they become law, requiring 2 public hearings before the budget is introduced each year, renaming the position of CEO of Economic Development Corporation, and allowing the county council to issue interim notes for capital projects. The one question that narrowly failed would have authorized the county administration to avoid competitive bidding for purchases up to $75,000 instead of $25,000. Now, did you get all those ballot questions, Dave?
Woo! Good for you for reading all that. And I know a lot about this stuff because I do it every day, but even I had, some of those were pretty esoteric. Now, the one that failed, real quick, that one, I could see why people voted against it.
Why do you think?
Well, because they think, you should have a process in place to protect against, spending too much money on things. The problem is that the county has a procurement system that is very bureaucratic and has a lot of, it's literally, you get a document and it has to be literally handed from one person to the next who work in different offices around the county to get it signed. And that's just one little part of it. It's just a very cumbersome process that we're trying to reform. But part of that is, let's say you're the director of IT for the county and you need to, fix something and it costs $50,000. Well, you can't just pick up the phone and say, let's fix that now. You have to go through a very lengthy process in order to make that purchase. So
and this was
it
trying
was
to
to increase it from
gap.
$25,000 to $75,000. So there was a little more leeway. And I'm not sure when the last time those limits were changed, but obviously the cost of things has gone up and the county's more sophisticated and things but I get why people didn't vote for it. So maybe next time.
They were lengthy questions, though.
They were tough.
I really had to use.
And you were waiting in line for 2 hours.
Exactly.
You probably had enough time to read them.
Well, I researched it all even before I got to my polling place.
Of course you did.
I just needed to make sure I had a good understanding of it. It was all very wordy.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. Next time we'll make it a little easier to read. Well, County Executive Steve Schuh has taken a big step to curb future development in the county. Last week, he announced a package of initiatives that would make it harder to upzone properties in rural areas of the county.
The legislation that we are proposing to the County Council and to the General Assembly will do 4 things. Number 1, establish into the code a rural conservation area consisting of the county's most rural and most vulnerable areas, and a rural conservation line that will demarcate the boundary between the managed growth areas of the community and the rural conservation area. Number 2, will require a supermajority vote of the County Council to expand public water and sewer into the rural conservation area. Number 3, require a supermajority vote of the County Council for upzoning property in the rural conservation area. And finally, number 4, requires that 50% of the county's land mass remain in the rural area for planning purposes.
Now, Schuh conceded that passing the legislation will be a tough road, and he urged citizens to contact their elected officials. The rural conservation proposal will require a vote by the County Council, approvals by the Maryland General Assembly, and a charter revision by the voters in 2018. We'll make sure the wording is very clear on that.
It's not just for me.
For everyone. And here's an interesting fact that came out of the research for this legislation, Kristin.
Okay.
Anne Arundel County is exactly 50% rural and 50% developed.
Exactly.
I bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I would have
right
thought
on
it was
the
more
nose.
developed.
How about that?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? But
is
you know,
interesting.
I mean, that makes it a good time to talk about this issue and try and, you know, plan ahead so that in the future we're making sure that development's where it needs to go and areas like certain areas of Davidsonville are left
And that's
protected.
why I would have thought that it was more developed, because as I've grown up there, I've seen so
Right,
much
it feels
more.
like it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Literally
very
50%.
interesting. Had no idea.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, students from the University of Maryland are mapping out the park of the future for Odenton Town Center. Last week, they showcased some of their ideas at the Western District Police Station. These ideas included water features like reflecting pools, ooh la la, and fountains, bicycle rental stations, an amphitheater, and a host of other cool things. You can watch the entire video documenting the meeting, and please comment underneath on Facebook, letting the students know what you like or maybe even what they missed. This project is part of the PALS program through the University of Maryland. Students are working on 27 assignments from the county, including a new trail connection, redesigning Arlington Echo Outdoor Education Center, finding gaps in mass transit service, and even coming up with a new logo for Odenton. We will update you on all these projects as they move forward. Students will present several completed projects in Annapolis on December 13th. So a public commons for Odenton, huh, Dave?
I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's great.
We have mentioned this before. We announced the project, that particular project, a couple weeks ago, but we finally had an opportunity to have the public come out and take a look. I did hear some oohs and ahs. I think people are excited about it, and I think, you know, Odenton Town Center has been something on the books for so many years, so many decades now, that it's exciting to see things start to pop up. And I mean, you have things like Ruth's Chris, and you have residential communities that are being built in Odenton Town Center. You have the main artery, Odenton Town Center Boulevard, being built right now. The bulldozers are there doing it right now. And when that road is done, you're really going to see things start to happen out there. So it's exciting to think about, you know, what are people going to do when they live in this new development? It's very large, and you know, I like actually the name Commons didn't really occur to me. I think Lynn Miller, shout out in planning and zoning. Lynn came up with a commons, and that's what it is. It's like, you know, when you go Boston Commons, you know, it's got pathways, and it's a lot of, it's what they call unprogrammed space. So it doesn't have a specific, this is a baseball field and you will play baseball on it. It's open space, and it's something where people can make whatever they want out of it. But it's going to have some cool stuff, and I'm sure you saw some of the stuff in the segment. I mean, we had like a curved reflecting pool that had like almost like stone lily pads so kids can go play.
That's so
and
neat.
You know, the parents can sit and let them run around, and as somebody explained on the faculty, have adult conversations while the kids go play. So lots of really cool features, and we really want people to get involved and take a look and tell us what they like and what they don't like. And hopefully, you know, this park will be something people will, you know, love to have for years and years.
I think it's a great idea.
So we're looking forward to it. And speaking of that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to talk to one of the key organizers of the PALS program, Uri Avin. Take a look at our community calendar for events happening around town, and we'll be right back.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. you're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, welcome back. Joining us in the studio this week, we're delighted to have Mr. Uri Avin, who is with the PALS program, here in studio to talk to us about PALS. Uri, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we've mentioned PALS on the last few of the couple of weekend reviews.
We kind of like PALS.
Couple. And for folks out there who might still not know what PALS is, can you explain it?
Sure. So PALS stands for Partnership for Action Learning in Sustainability. It's a partnership between the University of Maryland and a local jurisdiction, and it emphasizes student service learning, action learning. They do projects in real communities under the umbrella of sustainability. So the projects are focused on sustainability. So it's a program that we partner with a place like Arundel County for 1 year, 2 semesters. And this year we've got about 20 classes attacking different projects with different topics for their semester. And so we have about 400 students who will be running around Anne Arundel County doing work here, working with your department heads, addressing problems and needs that you have.
I really love this program, both because of the challenges it presents to the students, but also the opportunity.
Yep.
Talk to us about some of the projects that you're currently working on.
Sure. We have a project looking at Tipton Airport. What would it take to make Tipton Airport a world-class facility as a reliever airport? What's the market? What's the potential? One project, we're looking at the potential for increasing public access to the waterfront and to the water, looking at mooring balls rather than piers being available for boats to tie up, which would increase public access to the water. Engineering students are doing that. We're looking at Odenton Town Center and designing a park. That would be a new central civic space in the new Odenton Town Center. And we had a great meeting with the public last week where 20 students presented a whole bunch of ideas for public reaction and response. So that'll be exciting. That'll be a good one.
That's definitely one we've been mentioning on the show.
Yeah,
we like to say that it's a bargain basement prices for high class consultants,
it
right?
absolutely is quite true.
And it is. I mean, the students are very impressive.
We figure for every dollar that the county spends, you get at least $10 in return in terms of the quality of work. If you were to hire consultants, it would be, you're paying for a fraction of the work, and you're getting a lot of fresh ideas.
I agree.
That's what
And tell us about, so PALS is relatively new. It's not super old. Tell us about some of your past partnerships that you've done.
Sure, this is the 3rd year. You're the 3rd community we're working with. We're actually working with the county and the city of Annapolis with some joint projects as well on the waterfront. But we looked at Frederick the very first year, and we looked at projects like the convention center and how to make it functionally the future convention center functionally effective, what kinds of marketing, what kinds of programs and outreach would they need. We had MBA students doing that. They also looked at the Frederick Airport. We looked at the watershed and invasive species that are causing problems in the watershed and climate change impacts in the watershed. We looked at providing an architectural tour for downtown. One of our students did this brochure that is now available at the visitor center, and it's now going to be an app.
That's so interesting.
All useful things. And in Howard County, which we just completed.
Our next door neighbor.
Our next door neighbor, we looked at the green infrastructure. How do you expand and preserve green infrastructure that goes into the communities and the neighborhoods throughout the county? We also looked at how do you evaluate when neighborhoods are stable or not? What data did you look at? How do you pick up early signals that neighborhoods need some help or some intervention? We gave them a tool that they can apply to different neighborhoods throughout the county. They collect certain data, they make certain judgments, and it gives them a warning about intervention that they may need, housing, health services, whatever. So that's some of the things we've been doing for the last couple of years. And this is an expansion for us. Anne Arundel County is much bigger. And working with the departments has been fabulous.
That's because we want to be number one.
We're
settle for less.
We're number one.
I've heard that before. I won't argue. Right. So.
What is your professional background?
So I'm an architect and an urban planner by original training. I spent 10 years as a planning director in different counties in Maryland, Howard County among others. I worked for the public sector, and then I spent over 20 years as a consultant working for planning and engineering firms nationally, a little bit internationally. So that's my background. I've been in academia for the last 4 years, actually teaching, doing applied research, and been running the PELS program for the last 3 years, which has really been my focus.
Has this been your brainchild, or how did PALS come about?
I've been the
Go
director.
ahead, you can take credit.
It was Dave's brainchild.
It was my idea.
No, don't let him do that. You
sorry.
do that with
I'm
every
sorry.
I
idea he
invented
could.
PALS.
He's been fighting me all the way.
Right.
No, our executive director of the Smart Growth Center, which is where I'm based, the National Center for Smart Growth, heard about this. It's really the pioneer is the University of Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and they've been doing this and pioneered it. So we thought, why not the University of Maryland? So we've been developing it for the last 3 years. I've been running it for the last 3 years, but the origin was really our director, Garrett Knapp, and the University of Oregon. There are about 23 universities around the country that are doing this, partnering with local communities. It's really a very successful win-win kind
But
of
none quite
program.
as well as the University of Maryland.
Of
is
course.
doing it.
And none quite as perfect as Arundel County.
No.
And
See?
indeed.
See?
Yeah.
So I want to put you on the spot here. First of all, congratulations! You just had a grandchild, correct?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yay.
Thank you.
And
thank you,
and the
thank you.
reason I mention that is, one, because we're very happy for you, but two, you always hear you can't pick your favorite child. But if you had to pick, one of the projects we're working on right now is your favorite, which would be your favorite one? Answer correctly.
I think.
I know what Dave wants
Thinks.
to say.
Thinks. Yes, no. I think the one that is the most interesting and rich is a bi-county initiative to connect greenways in Howard County and Anne Arundel County together at the hub where they cross over near BWI. There's something like 3 miles, which is not now properly connected. We have a bunch of landscape students doing some fabulous work looking at ways to connect the Greenway bike ped system that will allow people to, in effect, as bikers or pedestrians, hikers, travel from way north in Howard County all the way through to Sandy Point. So
Wow.
that is really a regional initiative which both county executives are supportive of, and which we're hoping will generate a real implemented project in Anne Arundel County in the next several years. That's a model project for us, actually.
See, he played the smart parent. He said something that was good for both counties.
Right,
you know?
right, exactly.
We don't play favorites.
Yeah.
So that
and
was
it,
good.
it also happens to fit into the county
And I much
executive's
prefer talking
priorities.
to you, Kirsten. than talking to
Oh, now he's just not even going to talk to me anymore.
Ruined.
This is how our meetings go a lot, yeah. But I mean, we've been working very hard on this, and Uri and his team have put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's really impressive how professional the students and the team are. They take this very seriously, and it's a lot of times when you hear students, people think about term papers, write a page and a half about how it would be great to have a Tipton Airport be, improved.
This is so much more hands-on.
This is a way higher level than that. This is high level stuff.
Right.
And when on December 13th, we will have a presentation where all of the students will come to Annapolis, to the Arundel Center, and they'll show the final projects to department heads and the county executive, the county council, all the elected officials, and certainly open to the public to attend as well. And I encourage people to check it out because I've seen the preliminary results and they're really impressive. So it's going to be great stuff, and it's very useful to the county. It's things that we assigned what we wanted. So it's not like they came to us and said, we want to do A, B, and C. It was kind of both, but everything's very specifically geared to what we need. So it should be great.
And a lot of the things are very practical, database building,
Right.
apps, computer apps for different
Yeah, I
departments.
love the app
metrics.
aspect of this.
And the reports are pretty professionally edited. And so our hope is that you'll have things you can actually implement that would make everyone, including the students, feel good.
Well, it sounds pretty perfect. Not only the skills that are helping the students, but also the presenting, the public speaking, making
Yes.
sure that you're ready for that
Exactly.
part of the professional workplace too. So
Exactly.
excellent program. Thank you
Okay.
so much for
Go
coming on the
Terps.
show. Yes, go Terps. We would love for you to come back anytime with an update.
Happy
And
to do that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this. Don't go anywhere.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back. A group of local artists made artwork to celebrate and support Ellicott City. Sara Gannon is at the Pascal Senior Center with more. Sarah?
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the Pascal Senior Center today in Glen Burnie, and I'm going to talk to some fantastic people. This is Cindy, Kay, and Debbie. And Debbie is the instructor at Pascal, and our artist, Cindy. And we'll explain a little bit where Miss Kay comes in into this. Ladies, thanks for meeting me here today. Can you tell me a little bit about this project for Ellicott City that you all have created? Can you give me a little bit of background how all this started?
Well, I went to Ellicott City, helped me with it was the Ellicott City Paint Ellicott City, where they had various artists who were taking part in a competition. I was not, but I was taking pictures. And I found this wonderful picture, wonderful view of Ellicott City, and I sent it on to Deb.
And then you took over from here.
Well, she called and said, I have the perfect picture for our next perspective project. And I said, cool. So she sent me the picture and gave me rights to reproduce it. And I wrote up the lesson. She sent me the picture on July 9th, but the lesson didn't come around in the syllabus until July 30th. And I had it printed at the center and picked it up at 12 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, that street scene didn't exist anymore. And we were pretty upset about it. So I introduced the project with trepidation on Monday. And fortunately, everyone was not personally touched. So they just wanted to do the best they could to give a tribute to Ellicott City. It was just going to be a perspective drawing. But after we got the drawing done, Cindy came back in the following week with a completed pointillist painting and announced,
I want to donate this to benefit Ellicott City.
And I said, oh, wait, don't just donate the original. Increase your giving power by making prints. And so that idea got born. And slowly, as each painting got finished and brought in, all the artists came up with the idea that they would join in. So we ended up with a project that includes 8 artists, and you can either purchase prints or you can purchase note card-sized prints of these projects, and all of it goes to the Ellicott City Partnership, ECP. We were lucky enough to get some further help from a photographer named Dom Dement, who digitized all the prints for free. Wow. And then we were not able to find a printer who could afford to do that at this time. So my part of the donation is getting them printed, since I didn't do any art. And then I had to go to our senior center director, Nancy, because I was having trouble figuring out how to do the finances in a nice, clean way. Sure. And so Pascal Seniors Incorporated, a 501 group that supports the senior center, is taking care of that. And when our project closes on December 16th, they will combine the funds and write one check to the partnership.
Very good. Boy, you all are masterminds at this. Now, Miss Kay, how are you involved with the project?
Well, I was born and raised in Ellicott City, and I became very interested in the project when Deb told me about it. And then she showed me the first picture, I think, that you had.
Cindy's.
And I was fascinated by it because I could just recognize Main Street. Of course, on this July 30th is the day that the flood hit that evening. And they've been working on Main Street ever since. And there's a lot to be done down there. And there were a lot of residents down there that were affected too. because above all of these beautiful stores, most of them have apartments. So there were a lot of people affected, and I'm tickled pink with this, and I wanted to come today to see all of these different pictures because they're all different perspective, which I think is great.
And Kay gave me a lot of help because I wasn't very politically connected, and she was helping me find the people to talk to and work out whether or not they were going to just take rights to reprint these paintings or whether we would have to do something else. But she really helped keep me moving as I ran into one wall after another.
Very good. Now, how can you get these prints? Is there a website, a telephone number?
You can call the center. It's Paschal Senior Center, or you can go to the Paschal Senior Center website. The Paschal Senior Center number is 222-6680.
Very good. And how long will the pictures be on display?
Until December 16th, and that's when we're going to close out the effort right before the holiday closes us.
It'll be a good Christmas present for folks out there, and
they're beautiful pictures.
They are beautiful pictures. I can't draw a stick figure to save my life, but other than that, they're very beautiful. A lot of detail and time went into these, as you can see, and it does capture Main Street, as you had said, and
each with a different personality.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely. Well, thanks, ladies, for meeting me today. This was an absolute pleasure, and a pleasure to see all these wonderful paintings, and good luck to the community.
They'll survive. They really will. They're an amazing group. They've had floods in the past, but this one was a humdinger, and it came from a different direction than most of them come. So they're doing well.
We're glad. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Sarah. Have you seen the progress with Ellicott City, Dave?
I have. Did you see the time lapse where they did like the high speed traveling?
I love time
through?
lapses.
It looks,
I really do. But
it looks great.
As far as all this progress with Ellicott City, it's so heartwarming to see how many folks have come together from different counties, from different forms of government, and help get them back on their feet.
And we see this so often. I mean, it's really something to see people felt so strongly about this, and really. You know, it wasn't just talk. People came out there with shovels and with brooms, and they gave money and they volunteered their time. And look at how fast.
There's been so many fundraisers, and
including one that you were involved in.
Yes, that was very exciting. Meriwether.
Yeah.
But it's just so heartbreaking to see all these businesses that people love going to Ellicott City. It kind of gives you that staycation vibe where you're kind of getting out of your own little city for a while and you go somewhere like there in the stone cobble streets and all the little Main Street businesses, and your heart really goes out to these folks because they're all that typical Main Street business owner, and you want to make sure that they get back on their feet.
I think they're going to be up and running a lot faster than we thought. So good for them.
Yes.
And you know, we talked in the interview about our neighbors in Howard County, and we're very happy for them, and we look forward to them. You know,
can't wait to frequent Main Street again.
And, you know, maybe better than ever. Maybe right?
Oh yeah.
Well, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode and archived episodes online anytime on Facebook or YouTube by simply searching for Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week for more highlights and news from around the county, and we'll see you next time.